keep queens in balance. I'm your host, Renee Winters. All right, well, welcome to Keeping Queens in Balance. And I'm so very happy today to have another beautiful queen in front of me, willing to share their story and willing to pass on their knowledge to other individuals in this world, because that's what it's all about here. So let me, without further ado, introduce Malaysia Harrell. Thank you so much for being here today with me.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
That's excellent. Well, of course, let's share your bio with our listeners. So I'm going to give a little bit of what you shared with me. What an amazing biography you have here.
Thank
So,
you.
from early childhood, Malaysia Harrell knew that she was destined to help others. Her focus, determination, and positive outlook were vital to those around her. As the oldest of three girls, Malaysia helped to raise her siblings before she moved in with her grandmother. Her childhood was filled with trauma which stemmed from her mother's challenges with mental illness and addictions. Her nurturing spirit as a child helped to fuel her professional endeavors as an adult. It was no surprise that she would study to be a service provider with a helping profession. Malaysia went on to earn a bachelor's in science degree in psychology from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. She knew that she wanted to further her expertise, and so she later earned a Master of Social Work degree from the University of Maryland in Baltimore. She is a licensed psychotherapist and is board certified by the American Board of Examiners in Clinical Social Work. Malaysia Harrell then went on to turn her passions as a provider to a healer by creating Blissful Life Consulting. At Blissful Life Consulting, she specializes in helping women heal and shift into alignment to serve their life's purposes. And that's what we're all talking about here. She helps women to move past the traumas to gain clarity. And I love that. Despite her, in 2019, Malaysia decided to share holistic approaches with others in the form of aromatherapy. I like that too. She founded Blissful Home Candy to spark joy in the lives of others while adding healing resources through fragrances. With the motto of love your inner child, the company currently offers soy wax candles, wax melts, room sprays, and diffusers. Girl, what? Oh my God. So thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. So, all right, I share with my followers a lot about you, but is there anything else you want to kind of fill in there that, you think it's really important that people know? Let me hear it from you.
Well, I just want to again thank you for this amazing opportunity. This is actually one of my first interviews, after some of the challenges that I faced, which we'll get into this year. Yes. And so, just you allowing me to come on and all of the women that you have interviewed and just being able to sow into the lives of others. I just really want to thank you for that.
So, you're so welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, so you did a really good job in talking about me in my past. And, I just really thank God for just the opportunity to be here on this earth.
Yes.
Especially with everything that we've experienced over this past year. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of things, including myself. And
Yes.
so I, just want to kind of talk about that, because sometimes you don't look like what you've been through. And
yes,
so
that's
so
true.
Kind of a good thing,
so true. That's so true, right?
Yeah. So, with my experience and, I feel like, with my childhood trauma that I experienced, I really developed this sense of, I guess, resiliency.
Yes.
And which you would call it. But then there are also some coping mechanisms that we develop that may not be so healthy over time, which, I'm starting to see now. But, basically, I feel like was born for a life of service. And I feel like everything that I went through brought me to that, So I've been serving since I can ever remember, even as a teenager in high school. And really, sometimes we start to pour into the lives of others, because we don't want to look at ourselves. We don't want to look at, those deep down, dark dirty places
Yep.
that, still linger kind of in our closets. And so, we start to commit to other people and serving, wherever we serve in our community, serving our country, serving, nationally, internationally. And that's one of the things for me that, I really started to hone in on the past couple of years. And I remember, I think it was 2019, I'm active duty. And when I got promoted to a high rank, that this was something that I sought out. This was something that I just wanted. It was on my vision board.
You were looking for it.
I was looking for it. And I got promoted and I felt so empty inside. I said, wow, I have the home of my dreams. I have the husband of my dreams, everything that I really asked God for. And I couldn't understand why I didn't feel excited. What, was I ungrateful to God for all of these things that I asked for and I worked my butt off for, and now I'm here and I don't feel excited. And I started to, kind of peel back the onion and those layers. And I realized, wow, there was some things that was going on that you didn't really deal with, the death of your grandmother who took you out of that situation during childhood, the grief, you don't get time to grieve, right? You're working, you got a family, you're committed to serving. And so I think with that, that really kind of catapulted a turning point in my life. Well, last year I deployed and I came back, and I'm someone who, has run marathons, I'm lifting weights, all this kind of stuff. And I'd never been hospitalized. And I came back and, I had a septic hip.
Wow.
I'm like, wait a minute, how could somebody like me, have that? And so that was a different experience for me. And, it really challenged me in many ways that I thought I was challenged. Right.
Like,
I don't need no more big challenges like this.
That's right. I gotta know.
Like, and challenge my family, challenge my relationship, challenge everything, my career, and then I'm starting to get it together and trying to really heal. And then in April, I was hospitalized again, and I, was basically, diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, and I just couldn't understand, like, you ask God some really hard questions. You don't want to kind of challenge, but you're like, Lord, why am I experiencing this, and what am I supposed to be learning?
Right.
And I think over the past year, I've learned a whole lot.
well, that's great, and that's what we're looking to share. What have you learned? And in terms of what has balanced you through that, you went through a lot, and there's certain times in, I feel that the universe is telling you something. The universe is telling you something. And here in this situation that you just shared, you're being hospitalized a couple of times, and having to sit back and reflect on that and what is going on, and what did that tell you? What did you finally realize at that point? What was it that, one, you found out, you realized about your life, and what was it that allowed you to continue forward? What allowed you to balance yourself?
Okay. Well, I think that number one, it really made me get back to basics with my spirituality. I grew up in the church, and I had different family members who went through all different, had all different religions. So I kind of went to every single different place, depending on who was watching me that day. I might have been at the Kingdom Hall one day. I might have been at the Pentecostal one day, Seventh-day Adventist the next. So I realized that, I think spirituality and religion are two different things. I think I knew it. It's kind of like a hashtag kind of thing.
Right.
But actually delve into the divine.
Yes.
I think I learned so much. Let me just say that. But what I really understood is that, it says, in the Bible that we're made in the image and likeness of God. And what does that really mean? I think that God is inside of us, right? Because we're supposed to exude, this godly, this kindness, this love.
Right.
We're supposed to exude that. And some of us pick professions, helping professions, where we think we are doing that. And to a certain point we are, right? But what is the point where you're really looking internally, you're looking at divine, you're looking at God to say, what is my true purpose?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
And some of us, we don't find that out until we're, kind of midlife. They call it, sometimes they say people have midlife crises and things like that. But it is this point where you really start to realize, okay, what is my true purpose? And am I in alignment currently? Is my life in alignment with what that purpose is?
Right.
And so once you start to ask those questions, now let me just be honest. When you ask those questions, you have to be ready for the answers.
That's right. That's
the
right.
answers that don't always look like the way you think they look.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I want this, I want that. And you get a awakening sometimes.
That's right. Oh my goodness.
And so I just really, learned to get in touch with my inner God, my inner peace, my inner. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've learned over this particular, year. And then also being in a place where you are allowed to put yourself in a position to get clarity.
Yes.
Sometimes you may be living in an area that is just noisy. Your job, the craziness of it is noisy. Your relationship, things that you might be going through with your family, loss, grief, traumas. And so to me, that's clutter, that's noise, that's a lot of different things. And so how do you really get to a place where you're able to sit down? Well, guess what? I was sat down.
Yes.
I didn't have a choice.
Right. Well, that was the universe. That was God. That was divine spirit. Basically making you sit and hear and listen.
And hear.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to hear, because again, I'm like, I need to get back to work. I need to do what I need to do.
Right.
And God's like, no, I really need you to hear me this time. Here are some things that I need you to do for yourself in order to do the mission that I've called you to do. And so I'm just being obedient, I think.
Right. And willing to listen. I think that, there's so much noise in our world, and you were mentioning this too, that there's so much noise around us, and that if we don't allow ourselves that moment of silence, that moment to listen and to really take it in, then you're never going to hear it. But from what I know is that it keeps coming back to you. It keeps coming back to you until you really get it, until you hear it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and that's how meditation was for me. It offered me that moment of clarity and peace and silence, in order for me to hear the true messages that were meant for me.
Absolutely.
And that's how that allowed me to do this. Malaysia, in terms of what you were saying, that this is the tool that allowed you to balance your relationship with God, that divine spirit that you found within, that you really truly listen to. Is that the only thing you use now to allow yourself to find balance? Or is there other things that you use to help you balance yourself?
There are definitely other things. So I couldn't, initially I couldn't just do it on my own. It wasn't this thing where I just, started to meditate and then, things just came. It didn't happen like that. I actually had some really challenges with trying to get, centered and not worry about, if I'm going to be alive today or tomorrow.
Right.
It was really, really challenging. And so I think I really started to meditate daily. I mean, real and prayer. So I use my prayer time and my meditation time. I really combine a lot of that, and it's caused me to really feel mentally free. My thing is, I was worried about this, worried about that, but guess what? If you're not alive, the difference doesn't make where you're working or what you're doing or what house you live in, because you're not taking any of that stuff with you.
That's right.
So I think prayer and meditation have been a real critical thing for me. But then sometimes our mind, even when you're meditating, sometimes your mind, you still have these things coming up. I listen to a lot of personal development.
Okay.
A lot of leadership and personal development. And, depending on the day and what I'm going through or what I'm experiencing will depend on who's the person that I listen to that day. Sometimes I might need, a kick in the butt. So that day I'm listening to David Goggins. And he's pretty hardcore. He's cussing. He's saying all this stuff. But sometimes, one of the things he hones in on is, guess what? Nobody's coming to save you, and everybody's going through something, or
Yes.
nobody
Yes.
cares. And
Right.
he's absolutely right. And I don't
Right.
mean, people love you and they
No,
care, but
it's
people
true.
have their own lives and their own
Mm-hmm.
traumas and their own
Mm-hmm.
experiences. And it's going to be up to you to dig yourself out of
Yes.
that ditch. Nobody's
Mm-hmm.
coming to save you.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's so true.
so the personal development stuff, a lot of meditation,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of holistic practices. So I think when looking at my healing journey, you
Mm-hmm.
think that your doctors are going to save you with all of this medication, and that's just not the case at
No.
all.
Nope.
If you're not involved in your treatment, and you're not involved as an equal partner in your own health,
Mm-hmm.
guess what? There might be things that God, the universe, divine tells you that you need to do
Mm-hmm.
that might be in addition to, the treatment plan that you have.
Right.
So, for instance, some of the food that you may, consume,
Mm-hmm.
the things that you listen to on TV,
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things, like I can't watch a lot of horror. I can't watch that stuff. I came up as a
Mm-hmm.
kid.
Right.
My first movie, I think, was Jaws, and I
Right.
was
Right.
afraid to take a bath. Like, I used to love that stuff because I thought that it took you from thinking about your traumas. So
Right.
I
Right.
thought, oh, well, you
Entertainment.
scared me
Right.
to death,
Right. Right. It's entertainment.
but
Yeah.
I
Right.
can't. So
Mm-hmm.
everything, I can't watch a lot of things that make your soul kind of, anxious.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't do any of that. I have to watch
Right.
things that are very positive, very peaceful. I also watched a lot of healing movies. So
Okay.
there is a documentary called Heal, which talks a lot about different forms of healing,
Wow. Okay.
alternative therapy,
Is
alternative.
that where is that? Is that on Netflix or something, or
I
where'd
think
you
it
find
is
that?
on it. I think it is on Netflix. It's
Mm-hmm.
either between, yeah, it's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I have to
Because
check that out.
some are on Prime and some are on Netflix.
Right. Right. I have to check that out.
And then what is it called? The Forks.
Forks
Um,
over knives.
Forks Over Knives,
Mm-hmm.
Sick and Nearly Dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
A
Nearly
lot
sick
of
and
those
dead. Yeah.
healing, yes,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
documentaries.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of spiritual,
Yes.
religious
Yes. Yes.
information. So, and then journeying. That
Oh
was a
wow.
big
Oh, I
piece
love
too.
that. I love
Yes.
that. I love
You
that.
have to get that stuff out. You're not going to have a
Yes.
therapist sitting with you 24/7 when you
Yes.
might be having a mental crisis.
Right.
So you
Right.
need to get that stuff out. Writing it is very, very healing.
Very therapeutic.
There's so many different things that you can do
Yes.
with your writing. You can write a
Yes.
book. You can write an autobiography. You can write
Mm-hmm.
letters to people who, you want to say something to. You don't
Yes.
necessarily have to send it to them. You could
Right.
burn it. You could, there's different things, but
I
just
love that.
finding a way to get that
I
stuff
love
out,
that.
especially if you're not able to exercise. If you're in a
Mm-hmm.
medical position where you can't really exercise,
Right.
then those are some things that kind of help to get that stuff out.
I love it. I love those ideas. I
Mhm.
definitely love the journaling, and I've spoken about that before at one of my workshops too. I think
Yes.
that's so essential,
Mhm.
and I think that people always feel like when they journal has to go somewhere, but you're right. It doesn't have to go somewhere. You can just do it for yourself to
Mhm.
release that thought, release
Yeah.
those patterns, or you can burn it. You can do that as well,
Yes.
right? So there's a lot of things you can do, but it's a matter of allowing yourself to free your own self of that
Absolutely.
energy, of those thoughts, of
Yes.
that, just that overall heaviness,
Yes.
that we have, right?
Yes.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, I love some of those ideas, definitely. So if what would you say to other women of color in terms of, their struggles and, finding balance? What would be one of your suggestions or place for them to start in terms of, finding that balance that you have,
Yes.
found for yourself?
Yes. And I'd encourage people to try to get to this at day one, right? When you're born. Because so honestly, a lot of us are women of color, are people who may have been the first person to, go to college, or have, served in a very high capacity with their
Mhm.
career,
Yes.
and things like that. And it almost feels like we're the martyrs for our family. We're the
Oh,
martyrs for our race, for our
right.
culture.
Right.
And that's a heavy, I wouldn't say burden, but that's heavy to bear, is
Right.
what it's a lot to carry on your shoulders, a whole generation of people and your ancestors to say, you know, these people did all of this for me to even be here. And I had this sense of loyalty and compassion and sincerity because I was aware of that. I knew that, you know, I wasn't somebody that I thought was special. I thought, you know, God put me in this position to move us forward.
Yes.
You know, to put us in a positive light, to show that all of the things that our family members, our ancestors, the people who, you know, have done things for our country, it was not in vain.
Yes.
Right. And so I really took that to heart to say, okay, now I got the stick and now it's my turn to run, you know, race.
That's right.
What I realized is that you can't do that alone. And sometimes we tend to do it alone because some people don't understand us. They don't understand why we work so hard.
Yes.
Why we have to work so many hours and do the extra stuff. And because we do the extra stuff, people keep coming to you and say, I have something else for you. Yes. But everybody else is leaving at 5 o'clock, 9 to 5. Doing what they need to do, going to the soccer games with their children, and wherever we are on the phone, you know, doing it on a computer. I remember there were times, especially when I got married, because that was a balance, right? That was a true balance, because I was somebody. My time was my time, and I used a lot of it to serve, like I said. But I remember early on in our marriage, I'd be on the phone at midnight about work stuff in the bed with him. So by the time he met the people I was on the phone, he's like, oh yeah, I know your voice. Like he knew who these people were. And I realized like I couldn't, you know, do that. I couldn't continue that and still be a wife and still be a sister, a daughter, you know, everybody, a person of service. Right. And so, again, I think it did take me some time, but ultimately this situation that caused me to sit down really gave me more insight. It gave me vision. Yes. Right. Sometimes you think you can see, but you really can't see. And so it gave me that vision to see the things that I needed to do. And so now, you know, some people say work hard, play hard. Well, I think work hard and recuperate just as hard. So if you had a day, because sometimes, you know, they talk about your cup being full and you not being able to support other people unless your cup is full. A lot of us are operating at an empty cup at all times. And so ultimately, how are you going to be effective with supporting all of these people? And so it's a lot of rest. If you have to take a day of leave just to or mental health day, whatever, recuperate, R&R, then that's what you need to do, because guess what, honey? When you're in that hospital bed, nobody's changing your sheets. Nobody's helping you change your clothes. You know, they may send you a card and some flowers. You know, and I did have a lot of people who really supported me, but at the end of the day, it's you against you. It's you and God. That's it. That's all there really is. And so that's what it really made me understand, is that I was operating from a point of work, thinking I'm serving other people, but I was never really allowing my cup to really fill back up. And that's not a point where you just take a vacation every year. So you're so over full, your cup is broke. Right. You don't have a cup at that point. You know, you take a vacation. So I think, you know, if you're working, there may be an opportunity for you to either, you know, take some time off, but incorporate it into your actual lifestyle. So you need to take a couple of Fridays off a month, you know, do that. Continue to date if you're in a relationship. Even if you're not in a relationship, date yourself. You know, have something scheduled that's exciting, right? And during COVID, you know, you might not have been able to go outside, but guess what? You can learn how to garden. You know, go on YouTube, figure out how to plant some sort of flower that you love, your favorite flower, the lily or something. Do something for yourself. Pour a candle for yourself. You know, there's candle kits available. There's so many things. Do or learn to cook a dish that you haven't cooked.
Right.
Look into healthy eating. So if you like to eat this certain food, find out how to make something that's comparable, that's not
Yes.
as, high in sodium, high in fat, all
Right.
that stuff.
Right. Right.
So, just really incorporating. And I remember I was stationed in Hawaii, and I remember I used to, do all these, like they have massages, like the
Yes.
Loma Loma,
Yeah.
all these
Right.
different
They
massages.
do. They do. And I just came back I went to Hawaii over the summer. So
Oh,
yeah.
I lived there, and it was
Yes.
to me,
Loved
it
it.
was a
Loved
place of
it.
God. I mean, it has all the
What?
symbolism.
Oh my gosh.
Rainbows every day. Doves
Yes.
is the national bird.
Yes.
It doesn't have
Yes.
any snake. I mean, it was just so symbolic.
Oh, beautiful. I was like, I gotta retire here. I was like, that's it. This is
Yeah.
where I'm coming. I said,
Yeah.
this is where I'm coming back. I
Yes.
was like, this is it. Oh, beautiful place.
It's
Beautiful place.
beautiful.
So I know. I definitely understand what you're saying. I definitely understand.
Yeah. So when I was doing some of these different, treatments, I remember telling one of the ladies, hey, I'm trying to do stress management. I'm coming to get this. And she said, well, why don't you just manage your life? And that hit me, right? Why you spending money, but it's not going to do nothing because you're going back in the fire every day.
Right. Oh my goodness. That's so good. That's so good. So let me ask you this. What's the biggest, like you shared so much, what's the biggest lesson that you've learned in your journey, in your struggles? What's the biggest lesson, your biggest takeaway?
I guess the biggest takeaway for me, especially over this past year, is that your life is not your own. You have goals, you have things that you want to do, you have things that you dream about, you want to manifest. I'm a big believer in the power of manifestation. But sometimes we're doing that based on our own ego, based on our own thoughts.
Right.
But when you really tap into that, that inner God, where we're made in a image and likeness of God, you realize that the things that you do and the things that you manifest, they all need to be exemplary of showing what God has done for you. Like basically your life is not your own. So once you tap in and you realize what your gift is, what your purpose is,
right,
using that gift, that gift to, inspire, help, support, guide the lives of others.
Right.
You may think that you're already doing it, but if something's going on that doesn't feel right, God doesn't operate in chaos.
Right. Beautiful.
And sometimes we do need the uncomfortable days to get us to where we're supposed to be when we're in those valleys. We have to experience those or we'll never move. You have to be uncomfortable to grow. But realizing that my life is not my own. And once I start to use what I learned about what my purpose is, you always feel at peace.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I did everything in my power, right? To show you God, to show you what love is.
Right.
And so no matter what, some people may not like, what you did or your thoughts behind it, or you telling them, no, I can't support you on this, or I can't, just knowing that it gives you this level of peace that is unshakable.
Oh, yes. So true. So beautiful.
It's unshakable.
That's beautiful.
Because I know that I'm operating out of love. And then also with learning about your divine gift and your power, every agency, every corporation, they have, a vision statement. They have core values.
Right.
So have you ever sat down to even look at what your core values are outside of your business, outside? I mean, of course, it should align with your personal core values.
Right.
And you think, okay, I have the Bible, I have this, but what are the intrinsic core values that you have? Because guess what? Once you start to look at those core values, there's certain, when you're starting to operate in life and move and navigate, guess what?
I love that.
You'll know right away if it's right.
Yes.
You'll know right away.
I love it. I love it.
So your inner God or your intuition will tell you.
Right. That's not right.
Don't go into that.
Don't go that way.
Don't sign that document. Don't take that job. You'll be
That's
more
right.
open to that.
Yes, 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 yes. I love that. What's your core values? And it made me think of what's your mission statement? What's
Yes.
your mission statement, as you move forward in this world, And this actually ties into my next question for you. What is your message to our young girls, our young women out there that are coming up in this world,
Yeah.
dealing with all of the different struggles that, we now have gained a level of wisdom to manage, but
Mhm.
they're just beginning. What was
Yeah.
some of the
Ooh.
information or knowledge you could pass on to them?
Well, my hat, my love, my hat, everything goes out to the young women coming up now, especially women of color,
Hmm.
because they're coming up in a world that looks a lot different from the world that we came up in.
Hmm.
Number one, people have access to you almost
Oh.
24/7 now with social media, your
Hmm.
phone. Before, if you got into a fight, you fought and then you went home. And so you didn't have no issues till the next
Right,
day, maybe. You
right.
know
But
what I
now they
mean?
can keep going.
But now it keeps going.
Hmm.
And then also, I mean, we're starting to see more people of color in play different roles or be on certain covers of magazines and have people who look more representative of, not only your skin color, but your body type. You're starting to see some of that now.
Hmm.
But I believe that society still unconsciously makes us believe that we're not worthy.
Oh, yes.
And I would want young girls to know that you are more than worthy
Yes,
to not
yes.
to be in this world, to make your mark on this world, no matter what the challenges you experience in this life. Don't let anybody tell you no. You
Yes,
keep doing and know that you are worth what you are worth. And
yes.
so, sometimes we're in situations where somebody might be getting paid 10 times what you're getting paid and you're
Hmm.
doing more, you
Hmm.
know. And so I would say again, to tie this back to, working with your spirituality, learning
Hmm.
that at a
Hmm.
very young age. I know
Hmm.
some schools, I think in Baltimore, we're starting to incorporate meditation, but it's the same thing. If I could have
Yes,
learned this stuff at a young
yes,
age,
yes.
I feel like I would have navigated a little bit differently and I would have
Hmm.
realized that I'm worth a lot more than
Right.
what I thought I was.
Yes.
And sometimes we tend to think, well, thank you. You're giving me this opportunity
Right.
where people of color were not able to be it. I'm the first this or the first that. And
Hmm.
so you do things that other people don't have to do. You have to
Hmm.
do twice the work,
Yep.
just to get
Always.
recognized as
Hmm.
someone else who may not have be of color. But I
Hmm.
will tell you that when you're in alignment, it doesn't matter the recognition that you get. It
Right.
doesn't. That's another carrot to make you
Yes.
kill yourself.
Yes. Right.
To
Right.
do when you are in alignment and you're operating out of your divine purpose,
Hmm.
everything's going to come to you. Everything is already in you. So everything is going to be available to you. Don't
Yes.
and social media is not real. Some of
Mm.
these people don't own the cars that you may see
What?
on,
Girl.
I mean,
Yes.
don't
Yes.
get into this stuff.
Yep. Yep.
Don't spend
Yep.
all your money on different things, to make you look a certain way
Yep.
or
Yep.
appear a certain way.
Yep.
You
Yep.
could look real cute with a cheap outfit, right? You know what I mean? Put a little belt on that thing, put a little bracelet on. I'm just saying, like, operate in your divine
Yes.
given gift.
Yes.
Let's not look at society to tell us who we should be or what we should do.
Right.
um, and just know your worth. Know that
That's
you
right.
are worthy of everything that God has told you that you are
Yes.
gonna get,
Yes.
and you will get it. It may not
Yes.
always look that way,
Hmm.
but if you are obedient, let me
Hmm.
just tell you, there's so many things that are going to be available, and think you don't even know how it's going to come. That's the excitement. Every day
Right.
is a gift, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I know
Yes.
it's kind of cliche, but you don't know what you're going to get today.
Hmm. Yes. Yes.
You
I
know what
love
I
it.
mean?
I love it.
I
I love it.
often try to and I don't know if young girls would even be into this, but the power of manifestation, when I'm in alignment, you'll
Hmm.
start to see things happening so
Yes.
good. You get
Yes.
a check in the mail from something, you know. I
So,
remember one day I got a $500 check in the mail because for the military, they have that military act where, if you're not supposed to pay certain fees or
right.
late
Right.
fees and stuff like that for your credit cards. And it
Hmm.
was somebody put a lawsuit against this credit card and I got a $500
You
check
like
in the mail.
what? Wait, wait a minute.
That's where God is showing you, hey,
Yes,
you
it's
may
here
have
for
these
you.
challenges, but
Right.
here's something that's
It's
going to
here for
come out of
you.
you. You're
It's
going
here
to
for
get
you.
that part in the play that you signed
Yes.
up for,
Right.
or, if you're running for student government,
Mm-hmm.
in your school, or,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
different things that you may want to do, be a Girl Scout,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
the different things. I mean, there's so
Yes.
much available to you, but
It's so
just
true.
don't do anything that doesn't feel good.
Right. No, that's so true. I love those words of encouragement for our young people, and I think that for them to be successful, a lot of them, it's about feeling worthy for one, and the other piece of that is giving them the tools, like you're saying here, the
Yeah.
manifestation, believing that these
Yes.
things can happen.
Yeah.
Believing that if we put our intentions out there, these things can come to be.
Yes.
And understanding that we have that power, we have that
Yes.
gift, that's
We
there,
do.
it's already inside of us.
It's already there.
So I love that. And I think that that's why we have to expose our young girls more to these
Absolutely.
concepts and this philosophy, and just touching their lives just as much,
Yes.
so they grow with that. They grow
Absolutely.
into it. You know what I mean? And I think that's so beautiful. So beautiful.
Thank
So
you.
my next question for you is like, so tapping into your divine spirit, tapping into that, your voice, God, understanding all of that. If you could give me one word in terms of what it does for you, what word would you use? What word would you use to describe
I have a couple, but the biggest one is
that?
freedom.
Freedom. Okay.
Freedom.
You want to explain a little bit? Why is it freedom? Why freedom?
I mean, and it could be peace. It could
Mm-hmm.
be, there's so many different words, but sometimes we have battles of the mind that, we're living in this constant battle, and our minds have us in shackles. Our
Mm-hmm.
minds have us locked up. You
Mm-hmm.
may not be physically locked up in jail,
Right.
but you're not able to really operate, in a way that you want to operate and feel really at peace.
Right.
You decide to keep a job that you don't like,
Mm-hmm.
or you stay in a relationship that is toxic and is not good for your health.
Mm-hmm.
You continue to, whatever is the concept, you spend money because it makes you feel better, whatever it is that you do. And so when you do those things, you don't feel at peace, right? You may
Right.
feel good for a minute, when the check come every week or every
Mm-hmm.
month or something,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't ever feel like you're free.
Right.
And, my experience over the past year, especially, is, I find that people, there are people who commit suicide. Our suicide rates are still there.
Yes.
You may not know if somebody died of suicide, but
Mm-hmm.
I've been in situations where
Mm-hmm.
people, they didn't really say it was suicide, but you knew,
Right.
And so I don't think our numbers are even really accurate of
Yeah.
the amount of people
Especially
who.
from people in the military too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, some people, they want to be free.
Mm-hmm.
They don't feel at peace. They
Right.
don't feel like they're in alignment or whatever, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like they have an out. And so, unfortunately, that is the way some people, take their own lives.
Yeah. Right.
And I can understand that,
Mm-hmm.
especially with everything that I've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And what I can say is that you can have freedom now in your
Mm-hmm.
mind. Freedom is in
Right.
your mind.
Right.
You
Right.
you can be you could be actually locked up and still be free in your mind.
Right.
No one
Right.
should have the ability. Again, when you're on 100 24/7, you're on social media, your mind is being stimulated constantly.
Mm-hmm.
You don't feel free. You feel like I'm
Right.
operating on somebody else's time.
Right.
And I often tell my husband, when I retire, I am taking all the clocks out the house.
Right.
Military, he's a veteran, he's
Yes.
retired, so
Yes. Yes.
he has clocks everywhere. He
Yeah.
still kind of operates on that, and I'm like, I don't want any
No.
clocks
Right.
when I
Gotta go. Gotta
retire.
go.
So just that
That's
level of
funny.
peace and
Gotcha.
freedom, and you can have it now. I think, some people think I have to die to get to heaven, but you can have heaven on earth. You can
Right.
have your own heaven right now.
Right.
But just doing the things that make you feel free.
Right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's very poignant in terms of thinking about that, because I think a lot of people do believe that I'll get my heaven later. It's later
Yeah.
in life. No, we don't have to do that. I
Mhm.
think that it's the world that we create for ourselves.
Yes.
So I think that's beautiful. Um, in terms of women as a whole, women of color as a whole, how can we continue to progress? There's a lot of things that are affecting us, in terms of economics, our
Mhm.
societal, our political issues,
Mhm.
the voting issues, all these different things that are currently
Mhm.
going on, we know. And a lot of times, as women of color, we are greatly affected, especially
Yes.
with with everything that's going on now.
Right.
What do you think? What are some of the ways that we, as women of color, can continue to progress forward?
Ooh, that's a good question because
That's
there's
a
so
big
many
one.
options. But you had talked, earlier about inspiring our youth
Hmm.
because they're our future. We're
Yes.
we're gonna be here for a certain amount of time,
Right.
but
Right.
and we can still make an impact and do the things that we do, but we need to be the models
Right.
for the youth, the young women, the young men, people of color who are coming up, or just society as
Oh,
a whole.
as a whole. Right. Yeah.
We need to be the role models and
Hmm.
operate in
Hmm.
love,
Yes. Yes.
and show our youth, the people who are coming after us, who will be taking, the stake or whatever
Yes.
after we're here or long gone.
Right.
But inspire them. Mentorship. I am so big into
Ooh.
mentorship.
Yes.
I talk to a lot of adults, youth,
Yes.
people
Yes.
call me when, their kids are trying to make, or young people are trying to make decisions as to what they want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm just so excited to talk to people who are inspired about their
Hmm.
career and
Yes.
what they want to do. And I'm like, do it,
Yes.
do
Go.
what you want to
Yes.
do.
Yes.
And for people who are a little bit older or who've already chosen a career,
Hmm.
again, I've seen people who went to law school, spent all this money, and they're
Hmm.
not practicing law.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It
Yep.
didn't make them feel good. It
Yep.
made them, you might start to feel sick or starting to
Hmm.
have all this confusion. Why do I feel this way? I have
That's
this
right.
big house, I have everything, but I
Right.
don't feel good.
Right.
Don't do it.
Right. That's
You
right.
didn't lose anything. You did learn something. It's
Yep.
great because whatever you learned in law school, you're going to be able to take that in any profession that you decide to do.
Yep.
But
Yep.
remembering to stay in alignment,
Hmm.
and even for women who are older, knowing that you're worthy as well,
Yep. That's right.
knowing
That's right.
that you are worthy, knowing that you can, sometimes we have children or we have a family and we feel like we have to wait to go after our goals and dreams, but why can't we incorporate that into our lifestyle?
Yep.
Again, incorporate it.
We can do it all. Like
Yes.
a lot of times they say we can't do it all. Yeah, you know what? Make time. Make time. You can do this. And it's so funny you said about the law school. I went to law school for a year and I realized that it wasn't for me. I left.
Yes.
I was $25,000 in debt. I did
Yep.
not have a degree, but
Yep.
I said, you know what? This is not right. This is
Yep.
not working for me. And you
Yep.
know what? And I've always been, a person that liked to, talk and discuss and all this other stuff. So I thought that was where I wanted to go,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I realized after that first year, I was like, this is not right. It's not
Yep.
setting right with me. It's not the right energy for me. I
Yep.
am so out of here. I am so
Right.
out of here. And I left and everyone was upset. My parents like,
Yep.
oh, she come home. My daughter's gonna
Yep.
be a lawyer now. She's not. I was like, I'm good with this now.
Yep.
I'm good with it. So it's so, so true. You have to listen to yourself. You have to
Mhm.
listen to what's right for you.
Absolutely.
And if you listen carefully, you'll hear it. You will surely
You
hear
will
it.
hear it.
Yes,
And
definitely.
and when you talked about making time,
Hmm.
your time is already here,
Yeah.
but there's some things you might have to cut out,
Yes. Right. Yes.
right?
Yes. Yes.
If you're
Yes.
giving all of your time to the church
Yes.
or to your community,
Yeah.
all of it,
Yes.
and you always wanted to take a class on this or get this type of certification, then maybe you could look at how many days you're able to serve.
Right.
You don't
Right.
have to give all your time.
Right.
Again, if people see you delivering, they're going to ask you for more and
Right.
more and more. They're,
Right.
they're not thinking about your mental health.
Yep.
They're,
Yep.
they're going to keep asking
They're gonna
you.
keep
So
coming.
we can balance that. It's just we have to figure out what needs to stay and what needs to go.
Oh, Miss
But you got
Malaysia.
the same 24 hours
That's
each
right.
day.
That's right. And you know what? You are saying exactly as this is coming close to a close almost. It's about balance.
Yes,
It's about that beautiful balance,
it
about
is.
keeping a queen in balance. And that's
Yes.
so essential. And we
Mhm.
are in control of that as
Yeah,
queens. We have to
absolutely.
look at what we're giving our time
Mhm.
to. You
Mhm.
know, and one of my favorite questions here, ties into you being such a beautiful queen, having your
Thank you.
crown on, on a daily basis. What jewels do you currently have in your crown? And what jewels are you looking to place in there? Now, of course, we're talking
Mm.
about, divinity, sincerity, honesty, whatever,
Mhm.
confidence. Maybe that's something that you have right now. You feel good
Mhm.
about that as one of your
Yeah.
jewels that you have. And what else are you looking for? So share what you have and what you're looking to gain.
Ooh. So what I have is again, I talked about just service.
Mm,
I am a
mm-hmm,
servant leader.
mm-hmm,
And no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm in a uniform or not in a uniform,
mm-hmm.
excuse me, in a uniform, I'm going to be serving for the
Right,
rest of my life.
right.
So whether I'm serving people, serving youth,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I've been to, the Girl Scouts and spoke to the Girl Scouts,
Right, right,
different
right,
things like that.
right,
And so I think my gift, I think it's a gift of service,
right.
because that's a
Oh,
gift. Not everybody
mhm.
can serve. Not every,
Right.
some people work at fast food restaurants and you like, ooh, you
Yeah.
sure you should be
Right.
here? You're kind of mad.
Right.
um,
This ain't you. This ain't your job.
and so I think that's one of my big gifts.
Right, right.
My gift of compassion,
Okay.
a compassionate leader as well. Again, I think my compassion level has been even brought on a whole nother level
Mhm.
because of, my challenges. But,
Right, right, right.
you know, we think that we're compassionate, but how are we really? I think it was the quote, it's not always what you say, but how you make people feel.
Yeah, it's Maya Angelou.
Yes,
Yeah.
Maya Angelou.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
So, how are you making
Making
people
people feel.
feel?
Yep.
When they
Yes.
call you to say, you may have that family member who always call you, they always
Mhm.
have drama.
Right.
And you have to balance, your energy
Mhm,
versus assisting them. But
mhm.
how are you going to make them feel, hey, I may not be able to talk to you right now, but here's something that I can offer for you. How
Right.
did you in that, how did you make them feel?
Right,
So I
right,
think compassion,
right. Serve compassion, service,
servitude,
and what is there other ones that you're looking forward
and
to?
then I'm looking for, let's see. There's so many that I could really gain, but
Give me two. Give me one or two. One or two.
um, so again, I'm on the path of, just that healing path. So I
Mhm,
think, we all want to come to the road of enlightenment,
mhm, mhm. Yes.
when they talk about enlightenment and just, reaching that true altruistic level, kind of in our lives.
Mhm.
So just, I mean, I've gained, like I said, a lot of information, but I guess I would just, want some more revelations to come. Again, I have to
Okay.
be ready for
Yes.
those. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, just an enlightenment phase that really, gives me true clarity for
Mhm,
some things that I'm still
mm.
looking for clarity for.
I love that.
And then also, just to, there's many ways of healing,
Mhm.
and there's many people who help people to heal.
Right.
And I just want to be a servant of healing. So
Mhm.
just really giving me the jewel of, of being a healer,
Oh, yeah.
or really a guide,
Yes.
to really help people heal. And I think I've, doing the mental health, I've really been able to really support people in their lives. But so treatment and
Right.
healing are two different things.
Yes.
And healing is really a lifelong process. And that's why
Mhm.
you see people go back to therapy
Yes.
on and on
Yes.
and on throughout
Yes.
their lives,
Yes.
because really we have to look intrinsically at how do you heal and
Mhm.
what works for you. So there's
Mhm.
so many different things that you can do, but real and being okay with with acknowledging what works for you.
Right.
You know, you have so many people's opinions. Oh, I wouldn't do that. That's not how we grew up, or that's not what we do over here.
Right,
You
right,
know,
right.
do what makes you feel good.
Yes, good.
So I want to, you know, get more of that enlightenment,
I
that
love it.
clarity to let me help people in a
Yes.
certain way to heal themselves,
Mm-hmm.
what mechanisms to use for them
Yes.
to get there.
I
But I
love
think if
that.
we all come together in this just healing
Yes.
community, you
Yes.
know, that would change the whole world.
It would. It surely would. It surely would. Wow. Miss Malaysia Harrell, thank you so much. Your words of wisdom and your divine peace, I feel, that you found. And that's a beautiful thing. And I'm so happy that you have been able to come with me today and connect with me and share with me and share with my followers how important this is. And I appreciate you. I see you, and thank
Yes,
you. And I know that this is not the last time that we will be together.
absolutely. God bless you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to share, or any places where people can find you? Because you got a lot to say. I know you got a couple
Oh,
businesses out there
sure.
before we go.
So people can find me on Instagram
Mm-hmm.
at Malaysia_H_Harrell,
Okay.
or for my Blissful Home Candy Company, which is a home scent and home decor. And
Right.
now we offer concierge gift services. So if you
Ooh.
have corporate gifts or gifts that you want to get
Yes.
for a special occasion, you
Yes.
know, I'll work with you to come up with a very special gift that'll make
Yes.
somebody cry when they open it.
Oh,
But
that's
it
beautiful.
is at Blissful Home Candy on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you once again. Be well. And again, keep staying in balance, my queen. Take
Thank you.
care.
God bless you.
Be well.